Okay, so welcome everyone. So welcome to the today's DevSprint 008. So today we are going to discuss about Django REST framework. Okay, the first question comes to us: why we need REST framework? Why we need REST services? Assume that before going to talk in detail of this REST framework, Django REST framework, so we need to understand the what is the use, what is the need of the REST framework. So first important thing is, for example, you build one application. Okay, that application is nothing but a website. You build one website, and after that, the website gone live. And after 6 months, you observe that the website is getting so many clicks, so many users are joining up, and you may think like, okay, my website is going very good way. So and there are some users are asking you that is there any mobile apps for that. Okay, and again you are thinking about that because you already have the 6 months of content in your website, 6 months of database is there, and there are already users are there in your website. Suddenly like you get the thought you want to go for the mobile applications like Android and iOS. How you can start? Your application is already there in the middle, like you already done with that, you already released the project, it has the real-time data. So in the time you want to create like iOS application, Android application. Sometimes in your application you may want to use something Java services, something like .NET services, any other services if you want to use. So that is the reason, that is the place where you can go and use the REST services, right? You create web services. That web services you can write any language, whether it is iOS, Android, or any other languages. So these we can use any framework. REST framework is nothing but set of protocols, set of rules we have to follow. Okay, so to build a connection between the Java and Python, or Python and Django, and different languages, we can make a relationship. Okay, so if you are going to use your base code as your Django project and create REST services to connect with the iOS, to connect with the, like what I can say, Android, and also with the Java developer. So your centralized system is the Django, and this Django is going to communicate with the different platforms like iOS, Android, Java, and Python, whatever it is use. So then that will give the information. Okay, so those situations only we can go for the REST frameworks. Okay, you can take best example is the Facebook website is also there, apps also there, but they will use the centralized backend is the framework. Backend is the framework they use, and they will maintain the request and response from the different. See, you can open your profile from the like mobile apps, and also you can open your mobile, you can open your request from the, you can send your request from the websites also, but those both will be parallelly maintained. So because they use the REST services to communicate, to give the responses based on the request. Okay, okay, let's come to the Django REST framework. It's also one of the framework for the REST services we can use to build the applications. Okay, especially this Django REST framework we can use for to build the web APIs. What is the API? API is nothing but application programming interface. So you can use any programming language, not only Python here. So Django can communicate with the different languages as well. That's called API. And web API. So this Django is mainly deal with the web applications only. As we already know that Django is actually built for the web applications only. So that's the reason we call it as the web APIs. It's not standalone APIs, it's a web APIs. Okay. So to work on this REST framework, we need two important softwares, are like two important, one is the software, one is the framework. So Python is must, definitely we need Python, because Django is actually works on the Python, and Django also we need it. So REST framework supports all these types of versions. So Python 3.8 is the latest version, and Django latest version is 3.2 or 3 now, but 3.0 you can consider for time being. So it supports Django REST frameworks, it supports all these things. So when you are going to build Django REST framework applications, you must have this Django and as well as the Python. First thing question comes, why I have to go for the DRF? There are other Python frameworks also there for the REST services like Flask.
So, Raja, one question means like Actually, I'm not in coding background, so we can develop app through also Python.
Right.
We can develop
Mobile apps. No.
Yeah, mobile apps.
We
No,
can
right?
develop that, but those are not sophisticated so far. But there are few apps are there, but still they are not giving the complete features. We can say at this moment is not that much robust applications we can build. Simple apps we can build, but still there is no any like sophisticated mobile app or like library for in the Python. There are some libraries are there. Okay,
Okay, thank you.
Sir, I have a small doubt.
go ahead.
Sir, actually, right now the red bus, I think it is a connect with the multiple APIs to ticket the buses in different APIs, RTC, TSRTC, something other uh, travelers also. Through web APIs, it is connecting to multiple of their applications.
Yes, it will connect to the multiple applications. See,
So it is work with the APIs only. So
it
red bus.
it works with it is actually working on the APIs only.
Okay, sir.
Okay.
So Raja, means like everyone will show their API, then only you can scrap it, or how it is working? Means like you are telling like API means we are fetching the details from the other website also, right? Kind of that is API or what?
Scraping is different, API is different. Okay, that's what I was telling that. Okay, so you have an application. Okay, let's take one real application. For example,
One application will control another application. Is it
yeah,
right, sir?
yeah, right. For example, if you look at the Facebook is not completely built on PHP. Okay, base code is there in the PHP. They use some services they build some services based on the Java, some services on the .NET. .NET is not there in the Facebook basically, but in the like Python is also there. How they can communicate one language to the another language? See, if I know English, you know English, I can communicate. If I don't know your language, how can I communicate? For that there should be some bridge, should be there, some bridge will be there. That bridge is nothing but like a programming interface. That interface is nothing but REST services. That REST services, we can say that something called like we can use the Django REST services. Okay, there are two types of the REST services we have it generally, right? But in this case we are going to use the RESTful services. There we can communicate with the like one language to the another language. So for example, you built here everything on the Python, but how iOS developer can understand this code? So you have to write some code in the like how to expose the services. So you have to convert your Python code into the bytes. Okay, that's called the serialization. You have to use the serialization process. Then your programming language will convert it into the something called bytecodes. Those bytes information will send it to the different languages. They will consume your data. They will consume your service, and they will use according to their. For example, Android developer has to show that the database information in the UI, like in the Android app UI. So you have to Django developer has to create one web service. That web service you can give it to the Android developer. Same web service you can give it to the iOS developer, and also to the any other programming developers you can use. They will use your URL or like your service. They will consume it. They will use whatever they want, like in their applications. Okay, that's how it works. So Django is the centralized system. So it will expose the service to the different developers, different app developers. That's why it works basically like, okay. If it is your application only like a website, then we don't need, okay. Your website is only like, just like a website, really not required. But if you are
So
trying to consume
it
some
will help in two ways, right, sir? If you already build any application, if you want to sell our services through APIs, we can able to sell. If
yeah,
you want to use any another application through APIs, we can able to use their services. So we can able to sell, we can able to purchase from other services. We can, but mainly we use the services. We
exactly.
can we can
So
the services.
You are right. We can that's called like consuming the services and producing the services. Okay, that
Yes,
is
sir.
really possible. That's how
just
it works, basically.
yeah, just like Uber is using Google service for their locations and all. So
Exactly.
Google has shared their APIs to that Uber. That's why actually they are able to use.
Exactly. That is a web services. And also one more service I will tell you. When you go to some website, they will ask you to log in through the Google, Gmail, or like Facebook or
Yeah.
Twitter or something. That is also web service. You know, right? For example, you're building one website. If you want to use the Google authentication process in your website, we can use that. Authentication is nothing but API. They actually created the web services. When the user is trying to log in from your website through the Gmail, can be possible because you are using their service in your website. So this is how it works. Okay. So payment
Okay, Raja.
gateway is there. Actually, if you go to do the payment gateway, some applications, CC Avenue, it's one of the most popular payment gateway. There are many payment gateways are there. So how these payment gateways can be integrated? Those payment gateways, everything we can say that like web services. So PayPal also we are using in the some websites. It's API integration, right? So all these integrations like have to use because that company is created one API to consume their service in the public websites. So this is something like web service world. Definitely without web service world, I don't think so any robust application is exist. Just simply website is different with the API websites are little different because now if it comes to the job world, if you're like a core developer, that doesn't make sense to the like to get into the market. If you say that API developer plus core, that will get more. That's called full stack developer. That's where you'll get more like visibility, and your profile will get attention with respect to the like profile screening and all, right? Okay, so we'll go to the next step and we'll see that okay how it goes. Here, why DRF? Okay, one is the main reason is authentication policies. You can see there is something called OAuth1, OAuth2. These are the different authentications we can use. Serialization is one of the best concept, right? If you want to expose your service to one place to the another place, like one language to another language, serialization plays very important role. Okay, deserialization also there. Serialization is nothing but converting your programming language objects into, like for example, Python objects into the bytes. Simple. Okay, there are different definitions are there to easy understand to remember. Converting your Python objects into the bytes, then only the bytes can be understood by the other languages. Deserialization in a sense reverse process, converting the bytes into the Python objects, something like that. Okay.
So JSON is a byte. So JSON is a byte. JSON is a
JSON, yes, JSON is actually like a normal raw text. It's a byte format only. And one more thing is I can still tell you here, the serialization is works for both ORM and non-ORM. In the sense, see, Django is a ORM tool. Okay, sometimes it is not going to really work on the NoSQL database, right? Because NoSQL is not ORM. It's not like like what I can say that relational database. So serialization works on the relational and non-relational databases. So the concept is actually support. So you can use the Django for any type of applications. And also like Django is giving the very good documentation. No other person explanation is really required. If you follow their documentation, that will be good enough to begin with. As any beginner, they want to start with the REST framework, and they have very good documentation. The community is also very good because it's a Google community. You can also join the community. I will show you that how to do it. And this is DRF is already using by the Mozilla, Red Hat, Heroku, Eventbrite, and even I know that Instagram, different big popular companies are already using these REST frameworks. Nowadays, it is every startup is using almost who is building the applications in the Python with the Django combination. They are actually using the REST framework services. Okay, it's almost all common now. Okay. So next thing is why. So what is the web API? As I told you, like the Django is the centralizer system. It could communicate with the Python. Not only Python. We think only the Python. No, we can use the Python. We can use the Java, and also we can use something like different languages like Android, iOS. This is how we can communicate. You build one application that can be communicated with the like mobile apps and as well as the like the programming apps. Okay, like internet apps. Whatever the builds, we can do it here, right? Okay, so that's all. Like the web API is like programming interfaces. Okay, so what is a REST API? If you can ask me, REST API is like you are creating a set of protocols to connect with the different programming through the interface. So REST API is it's a bridge for the different languages. Okay, that's where it works. But we are talking about websites and all web technologies, so it's all about web API. Okay, what are the core concepts are involved in the Django REST framework? So there are three concepts. Okay, serializers, viewsets, routers. Okay, serializers, as I told you, it converts the data. It converts the serialize allows the complex data such as query sets, model instances to be converted into the native Python data type that can be easily rendered to the JSON and XML. Okay, end of the day, two different languages what they can understand, either XML or JSON or any other content types you can use. So nowadays, most of the process, even if you go to the Java world, if you go to the .NET world, the use nowadays is the JSON. In the previous like 5-6 years back, they use the XML is the bridge language between the two programming languages. But now the JSON is the best one. We can use it. Okay. So JavaScript object notation. So we can use this one. Okay. So what is this like? How we can start this? How this Django REST framework we can start practically? So we need to install the Django first. Okay. Before going to install the Django, you must have the Python software, and after that install the Django, then install the Django REST framework. Okay, I'll go see the content you can read from the Wikipedia, their website, you can get it. Let's go with the practical example. We'll see that. Okay, then only will give more weight. So I'm going to stop here, going to create one project that's going to help you. Meanwhile, you can ask me the questions. If anybody have any questions, I'm going to take it up. Okay, so it is a easy programming. I'm going to write it here. It's not going to be complicated. You'll get easy understand because most of them is don't know about some cases Django also, but I'm
So,
going to create it here. Yeah.
Jack, means like Raja, means like you are telling like serialization is converting a data. Data means like suppose I wrote something program in Python. I want to use in means like I need to convert to Java. So it will convert that my Python code to byte code, and the Java will use that byte code or something.
Yeah, they will consume that service. Exactly. Okay. I'm telling very, very, very like this language is, we should not tell this language to the interviewer or to someone. I'm telling in the straight words, like actually it does the same thing. It converts your Python objects into the raw text, like something bytecode format, like bytes data. That bytes data you will give it to the like Java programming. Java programming will use the deserialization concept. It will convert. But all these techniques will happen internally by using the predefined classes or predefined functionalities. Okay, because internally this is abstraction. This is how it works when there is a exchanging the data between the two programming languages. Because see, otherwise if you are not using the REST services, what is going to happen, you know? Because you are accessing from the mobile app, again you are accessing from the website from the browser, so it will crash the data if you're not maintaining the sustainability, like between the like accountability of the user information. It will create a lot of issues. You are uploading the profile image in the mobile, and same should be reflected even in the website, right? Then only you will maintain the interoperability between the two applications. I mean, between the two, yeah, we can say that two applications. Okay, so
Okay, Raja.
that's where it comes into the picture. Okay, so how many services?
Thanks, Raja, for clearing my doubts.
Yeah, yeah. So Pickle is going to support the Python 3.7. Yeah, the Pickle is going to support the 3.7, but the Pickle is like mostly we can use it for the, yeah, mostly we can use the for conversion of the bytes as well. At the same time, Pickle is mostly used in the machine learning concepts. Okay, that we can talk later. Later, I will give you a little idea on that part. So let's create the new project. So before that, I'm going to create virtual environment. Okay, so how to create every project I'm creating the virtual environment here. Okay, so that will give an idea how to maintain the source code in our project. Okay, already I have the virtual environment or I can say that this module. I'm using the same thing, virtual env space, I'm saying that drf. Okay, drf is my environment name. Enter. I'm creating the environment now. Environment is creating now. So after the environment is created, I'm going to install the Django and Django REST framework. Okay, so pip install, and we'll go to this Django direct, whichever the whichever the version is there, that will be installed here. Or I'm little sorry because pip is actually there in my 2.7 version. I'm going to use the pip 3 because my system I having the multiple versions are there. Of course, it is already satisfied in my system. It's working well because already it is installed in my system, but you have to do the same thing. So pip 3 and install. Next software is Django REST framework. Okay, Django. Okay, you may get idea like where I can get these information, right? If you go to their web shell website, okay, before going to enter this command, I will show you their web shell website, then you will get some idea. Okay, Django REST framework. It's a really good website. So, okay, Django REST framework. You can go to this, click on this Django REST framework. It is a separate community is building it, not the Django. Django community is different. Django REST framework community is different. Both are different organizations. Okay, and you can see this. There are many communities are using. There are some companies are funding for that, and so they are saying that to install the REST framework, we can use the Django REST framework. And after that, we need to add this one in the installed apps once you created the project. This documentation is perfectly all right. You can easily use it. So we are going to look at the one by one. I will tell you that the documentation is very clear, like what is the request, what is the response, and how views will be there, what are the view sets, renders. You have to spend some time and you'll get more idea on this. Their explanation is very good. This documentation is perfectly all right. Okay, let's go and implement some code here. Okay, I'm using the pip install. Okay, Django REST framework. I'm entering now. Okay, it is also satisfied in my system. Then okay, command K, it's done now. I'm going to create now the project. Okay, to create a Django project, so we are going to use the command called Django. So before that, okay, let me create the project. Django-admin start project and project name. So project name, I can say that something called developer project. Okay, the project name is the developer. I'm writing any project name you can take, or else I can take that software engineer. Okay, to make difference, so I'm creating like this. So software engineer is my app. Okay, just enter. I'm creating the software engineer is one app. You can see at the left side. Okay, inside that, so once you created that, I have to go to that location. So I'm saying that cd space software engineer. Okay, now I'm into that. So when I open this project, you can see there is two folders. Okay, there are actually one folder with the same name. That's how it's created the Django when you use it. So in this, we have something called settings file and also URLs file, manage.py. So I think in the previous discussions on our Django live coding concept, we understand that what is the settings, what is the URLs and all everything, right? So you can refer that video, you'll get more idea, right? So once you install the Django REST framework, once you create the Django REST framework, we have to add that one, then only it will understand. So where this is there, just go to their documentation. If you look at that, they're already telling that once you created the project, you have to install you have to add this REST framework, then only it will be applicable. Okay, I'm going to this. You have to add the same name. Don't change the name. Okay, it is a predefined app. It's a predefined app which we are going to use it, comma. Okay, so next one, I want to cross check that whether my application is working properly or not. So we'll go to the URLs. We'll see this admin.site.urls. Let it be like that. Okay, so I want to run this project. Okay, before run this project, first we need to do migrations. What is the migrations? Django is already giving some of the apps here. You can see these apps are related to the users. In the sense, user information will be there. Okay, all this user information you have to get into your local database. As of now, this is a web application. Web application is always runs on the server. That server is the web server. Okay, so until you host it in the different server, that can be application server. These web applications always runs on the web server to handle the HTTP requests and HTTP response. So I'm using the Django server, inbuilt server. That name is called Django server only. And also I'm using something called like database is the SQLite 3. By default, SQLite 3 will come. So to run these entire apps into my database, I'm going to use the command called Python 3.7 because I'm using the 3.7 especially for this manage.py. But in your when you are trying for this, you can just give only Python is enough, because in my system I have the multiple versions of the Python. So that's the reason I'm going to configure it with the 3.7 only. Okay, so manage.py and okay, manage.py migrations. You have to do migrate. Okay, so when I click the migrate, it will migrate all the information about the users. Okay, it just now migrated all the information about the tables which are there. What kind of tables are there? Authentication tables, session tables, message tables. That tables only you are seeing it. See, authentication table, user information. So basic, because Django is providing the basic user tables. So you have to first load those tables into your local database. Okay, to do that process, we have to use the command called Python manage.py migrate. So Raja, how can I remember these commands? Okay, just you can use this Python space manage.py. You'll get all the commands of this, whatever commands you want to use, right? Change password, create super user, all this information are there. Okay, so let's try to run the project now. Okay, Python 3.7 and manage.py. And to run the project, okay, there is a command called run server, right? So where this command is there, okay, you can see that there is a command called run server. Okay, I'm using this command only now, manage.py run server. Now server is get up. So now what I'm going to do, right? I'm going to click on this link. It will open the one page. What is the page of this? This is the we can use the page. Let me close other tabs and we'll get the clarity. Okay, so it's a home page of Django, and this means this Django is perfectly there in our system. Let's go to the next. Actually, we are not started with the REST framework. We are now checking our Django is up or not. After that, we can use the REST frameworks now. Okay, so next one is I want to create admin. Then I will start creating the REST framework. How to create an admin? Same command, Python 3.7 manage.py. So every time we use this command only, Python manage.py, Python manage.py, like that. Okay, so I'm going to create the admin super user, because if I can easily visualize the data, what data I'm creating it and all everything. Okay, enter this. So it will ask the username of admin. So I'm giving the admin only. That email it will ask. Email is also admin@gmail.com. Since I'm working in my local, I'm not going to bother about this information. Okay, basically I'm creating the admin for.
Please reduce the screen size, Rasa. I'm not able to see the typing what you're typing.
You can maximize it. I think, is it the case for everyone? So this is visible
No.
or not, guys?
Yeah, I'm able to see.
Your system might be some issue. Okay.
Okay.
Able to see.
So now we are able to create the username. After that, I have to run the server. To run the server again, Python manage.py run server. Server will get up now. Again, I will go, okay, or else I can use this. Okay. So refresh the screen. It is the same thing, but admin is there in this /admin. Okay. I'm going to open the admin. I just created the username is the admin. It will go. Django will provide the default inbuilt admin screens that we already know it, right? So we are going to use it. So let me execute this. Okay, so you see, by default, our database, we already done the migrations command. We got the groups and users, right? So users are like only one user is there, that user which I created, right? That username is admin. Leave it. So right now I'm going to create some developer information here. Software engineer is my app, my actual project name. So I'm going to create one more app called developer. Okay, so Command C or Control C, and I'm going to create what I can create now. So I'm going to create something called app name. So Python and 3.7, and we can say that manage.py. Okay, and start app. Can I write like this to create application? Okay, so Python manage.py start app saying that developer. Okay, enter. You can see at the left side in the structure of folder structure, I'm able to create one app called developer. It actually come up with something called admin, apps, models, test, views. Okay, admin is like we can, if you want to attach this app to the admin screens, then we can use the admins.py. And apps.py, it will tell like what information you are using it, which app name it is. And the models is nothing but the database connections. Okay, like not database connections, like writing the tables, all the table information we write here. And the test is for testing that test cases for the to run this application or whichever the apps you created. The view is actually like a controller. Here we write actual business logic, right? So you can see that when I run this, SQLite 3 is there in my default. I'm not using the PostgreSQL. So in the previous Django live coding, I used the PostgreSQL. You can refer it. You can also use the PostgreSQL, any database, Oracle also, right? Okay. So whenever you created any app in the Django, immediately you have to register here. Otherwise, it will not consider for the flow. Okay. The same spelling mistake, you have to check the spelling. And if you make any spelling mistake, it will create an error. Okay. I'm adding the same name of app which one I created, developer. Okay. Let's go and create some information to the database. Like I'm creating now class. Okay. The class here, developer information I'm going to add. So it's a developer. I'm writing developer. So we can write a Python developer, any developer you can write. I'm simply giving the developer only. Inside that, the models dot the model. Okay, I'm writing. So I'm actually doing here inheriting the features of the model into my class. Okay, better always give the uppercase letter. That is the naming conventions we should follow. Okay, so developer, what will have the developer will have the name. So I'm creating this models dot which type of field it is. It's a character field, right? So it's a character field I can write. So models dot char field of max length is equal to something and all, right? So I don't want to use all these things. I will use the maximum length is the 50 characters. I can allow the user to enter the name. Okay, next thing is that the developer will have something like age. I will take, okay, so models dot integer field. Okay, so integer field, you can leave it like this. Okay, and also we'll take one more one, so that will give a little idea. So bio or like whatever it's bio is nothing but bio data of the developer. So we should, like it's nothing but our profile data. Okay, you can say it's a profile information of the developer. The models dot, it is again the character field. So I'm going to take it the same thing. Okay. Okay, so generally profile data you can also use the text field, but for time being I'm going for the character field only. We can say maximum 150 characters. Okay, so to make it very easy, so I have the model, I created the model. This model, once it should go to your database, right? It's nothing but ORM. So you don't need to worry about writing the SQL queries. That is one of the beauty of the Django. The people who is not from the SQL background, for them Django is very useful. That concept is called the object relational mapping. So any type of tool which says that ORM, you don't need to worry about SQL, because I'm writing the Python code here. Django will prepare SQL query that will run into my database. It will create a table itself. Okay. For that, we need to use the two commands. One is the Python 3.7 and manage.py. And after that, you can say make migrations. When I say make migrations, it will create a query. Okay, for this, it will prepare a query for this model. Okay, that query will be done by using the Django itself. So when you use this command, make migrations. Okay, so you can see this, it is created. In the left side, you can see there is a make migrations. There is something called 001. This is the query is created. But actually, you are given the name, age, profile. For every model, it will create something called ID by default. Okay, ID is the unique, it's an auto field, it will be created, it's a primary key as well for every row. So okay, you prepared the query, this query has to run in your database. That means it will create a table. How to create that? Another command is called the migrate. So make migrations is the name itself is telling you, right? Make migrations means it will create a query. Migrate means that query will run on the database. Okay, so by default, if you go to the settings.py, it'll go to that settings.py that is there on the main app. So there is we already have the settings. Okay, database is already by default is configured with the SQLite 3. By default it will come. If you want to change it to the different databases, just go to click on this link. It will, you can go and change it. Okay, but as of now we are using the default database one. Okay, let me run this command migrate. When I run this command, it will create. So it will create at the something called developer as well. Okay, so I want to see this information in my UI. So what I can do, right, I will bring this one to the admin screen. Okay, I want to register this app. To register this app, where I created in the models.py, it's a models.py only, it is there. I want to bring the data here to register the model. Okay, dot models and import, and the import name is the developer. Okay, we have the developer name. Okay, so to register this one, admin.site.register, admin.site.register, and in the register I'm going to add this developer, as simple as. Okay, when I say register, this is going to be like added into the my screen. Okay, my admin screen. If I go and execute this, if I refresh the screen, it won't come because your server is not up. Okay, you have to do always the server should be up, then only it works. Okay, and one more thing, guys, server also can be up with the another port, another or like a port number also you can use 9000, 6000. You can use it here, it will works. Okay, so Python 3.7 manage.py run server. By default, it is taking the 8000 is the port. By default, it will be taken. Okay, I'm going to refresh my screen now. This admin screen, you'll see that what is going to happen. Okay, so let me go back to the home page of this. See, developers is added. Okay, how it is added? Just a single line of code. Okay, let me put this comment. This line number 6, I'm just putting into the comment section. When you are not registered the model in the admin, then it will not show into the admin screen. As simple as. Okay, you created the model. That model is nothing but relating to the database, right? You are creating the database model information. So if you want to show this information to the user, then we can use like this, admin.site.register developer. Then I will go to the refresh here. Refresh. Let me click on this and you'll get the like what information you actually done, name, age, profile. Okay, if you want to change it to the text field, let me change it. Okay, if you want to change it to the text field also, we can change. For example, we think like, for example, text field, I want to change it here. So models.text field, I don't want here, let me keep it like this only. Okay, I'm just going to keep it as a normal. Let me refresh this page. See, text field is created. Dynamically, it will take care of everything. But it is not the real case. When you change something on the model, you have to always do. Okay, you have to always see locally it works, but in the real time, you have to be careful that when you done some changes, do the make migrations. Okay, again do the migrate. This is any changes happen to the model, you have to reflect on your in your database. Then it will, you have to run it. You can see another migration file is created. So what information it is saying that you actually done something like changed this one to the text field. Okay, for this migration there is a dependency is the 001. Okay, that's how it goes basically. Okay, the migrations are very powerful. Don't delete these migrations. Okay, it will create a mess. Okay, because these are all like relational between the one table to the another table, one migration to the another migration. Migrations are nothing but prepared SQL queries for the database in the Django. Okay, okay, so we are done with this. Okay, so this is actually, so far we are still into the Django only. We are not done anything much on the REST framework. Let me go on to the REST framework now. Okay, so as I told you, we have some data here. This data I want to serialize. I want to give it to the another user. So how we can do this one? In this case, very simple, guys. We can easily do it. So there is something called serializers. Okay, let me go and show you that in the Django documentation, how serializers will be there. Then we'll come back to the screen and we'll get some idea. Okay, if you go to the screen of this tutorial, serialization, which is one of the important step in the Django REST framework. You can see there are different types of the serializers will be there. Okay, but we are going to use the normal serialization. Okay, if you want to create any serializers, okay, you have to create a model. Model serializers are there, normal serializers are there. Okay, I'm going to create a serializers.py separate Python file. Then I will add this code. Okay, we get little very easy way to do that. Okay, So in my app that's called developer, because I'm serializing the developer information, so I'm going to create a new file called serializers.py. Okay, serializers.py. So you have to use any file name, you can use it. Again, question comes here, can I change the different file name? If you can ask me, yes, you can change the different file name, that should works. But always remember, better to always give the same name, serializers.py, because everybody follows the same conventions, right? Okay, so already I'm using the REST framework, so I will import the REST framework, REST underscore framework. So how to do that? REST underscore framework and import serializers. Okay, these are all where it is there. If you go to the settings.py, you have to use this like REST framework. If you are not using this REST framework, it won't come there. Okay, that's the same thing I'm doing it here in the serializers, REST framework, and same thing, import serializers. So I'm writing the serializers. Serializers is like just like spelling, right? Okay, serializers. Okay, spelling is correct only. After that, I have to take the model. Okay, the model name is dot models. In the models, I already created the model name called the like developer. Okay, this developer only I want to serialize. That's the reason I'm taking the model. Okay, to start with this class, and I'm serializing something called developer. Okay, this developer only I'm serializing. I'll put the same name and same naming convention. Okay, so to avoid this, okay, I'm giving the same name because it will reduce the confusion. Okay, so say that serializer. In this, I'm going to use the serializers dot whichever the serializer. There are different types of the serializers are there. So I'm using the model serializer because I'm the model only I'm serializing here. So you can also do the other serializations. As of now today, you can just think about only this. Later we can discuss the other types of the serializers. Then we'll get more clarity. Okay. So the model and say that serializers. Okay. So model serializers. It must be a class. Okay. So it must be a class, and it's not be a, this is a model serializer. So what I'm going to do now, simple, you create the meta class. Okay, so to create a meta class, this meta class will take care of everything. So which model you are using, the model name is the developer. You can create it here, just add it here. And what are the fields you want to serialize it? Sometimes we don't serialize everything, right? So your client says that don't serialize all the objects in the table. Your base application may contain the 20 fields, but it's not always recommended to serialize everything, right? Maybe your Android developer need only 4 fields, maybe we are not sure. So that time we can restrict these like a field, like that can be done. But in this case, I'm going for everything. Like I'm using now, you can use the ID by default will be there, and also name is there, and you have to use the same names whatever used in the models. Okay, don't change the names. If you change the names, it won't serialize because you are using the model fields. These are actually column names which are there in your database. Don't change it, the model name. Okay, like this. So developer serializer start model serializers. This is perfectly working. This is perfectly right. This is how we can create the serializers. Okay. So after this, what I can do, right? I have to go to the that this model is done, serializer is done. Next important step is the views. Okay, here only we need to make the some like from here you'll little confused, but you can ask me question, you can stop me also. I will take care about that. Okay, so what I'm going to do, right? I'm going to create here like in the what I can say that in the views, I'm going to create one, it's nothing but one more class that's called a view. So we'll get some idea here. Let me go to this from and the REST framework, the REST underscore, okay, framework and import, okay, Viewsets. To handle the request and response, we are going to use the Viewsets. These Viewsets and also dot models, because model information also we need here. That models import. My model is here developer, right? And also we need something called serializers. We already created. So serializers and import, and we are going to use the developer serializer. This is also done. So let me create a class. That class is actually talks about the business logic, that what information I have to do. Is it I have to retrieve the entire information of the table, or like it's like a filter? Is it like which operation? Is it insert operation? Is it retrieve operation? Which type of operation is going to be done? We can see that. So, okay. Now I'm going to create a developer view set. Okay. Developer view. In this, I will put something called view set. View sets. Sorry, this view sets. Okay. You can take the view sets dot, and we'll have the like model view set, right? The model and the view set. So, this is how it works. The model view sets. Okay. So when you're using this, you can create like a query set here. The query set is like we have to use something called query set. This query set is equal to, okay, you can ask me the question, Raja, can I change this name of the query set? No, it's a predefined one. You have to use the same name only. I don't know how many of you know about there are two types of the views in the Django. One is the class-based views, another one is the function-based views. If you are going for the class-based views, you have to go with these some predefined attribute names. Yeah, something which I am talking about query set, it is a predefined attribute. Okay, so I want data from the developer table. What data I want? Complete data. If I want complete data table, this is I'm going to use objects.all. This is nothing but select star from developers table. Okay, so the table will be always created with the name of app and as well as the model name. Here in my case, so developer is my model, app is also developer. So the table name is like this, developer dot and developer. Okay, because a developer is my app name and developer is also my model name. So my table is called developer.developer. That's how it will be created. So I will access the data from there. So next important thing is you're done with the select query. So then you are going to serialize this. Okay, to serialize this, we are going to use the serializer class. Serializer class underscore class is equal to, say that something called, this is a developer serializer. We have to tell that which class you are serializing for this model. Okay. I'm a little bad at spelling, so I'm just cross-checking it. Okay, so serializer underscore class is equal to developer. So we are done with the views. Okay, so what is pending now? The only one thing in the Django we are done. Only one step is pending. That's called urls.py. Okay, so I'm not having the urls.py. I'm going to import this one. Okay, let me create urls.py. That's called include. We're almost all done, guys. Nothing much is there. We are done. So I'm going to add new path. So whenever when I open my website, it should come up with this DjangoRestFramework URL, not with the like their application. Okay. So I'm going to change this one. So for that, I'm using the index. So include of, I'm going to include the developer URLs. Okay. So developer URLs I'm going to use. I'll come back to this one. I will talk about this. Okay, we can use it now only. So developer is my app name. So this developer, that should be small letter, dot URLs. I'm not created at the URLs. I'm going to create it now. Okay, developer dot URLs. It's saying that no module name developer dot URLs because we are not created. So let me go and create here something called urls dot py. Okay. When you create the urls.py, that should be fine, right? So what I'm going to do, I'm going to add this same code, whatever it is there in the main app URL. And let me.
Raja, that added as urs.py.
Thank you so much. Yeah.
Yeah.
So now I'm going to remove this entire code. We don't want admin also. We don't want. We are in the app. So when we are in the app, we don't want all these things. So we'll see this one, how it's going to work. Okay. So this is the main developer URLs. Here we have to write. So we have the view, we have the serializers, we know the models, everything. The only thing is that this URL should connect with the view, and this view will go to the serializers and the model. Okay. Okay. This view is actually like in single word, I can say controller. Okay. It will take the information from the user, like which serializer class he is doing it, what kind of query is dealing with this. All this information is there here only in the view. Okay, model and serialize. Let's go to the URLs and add something. Okay, in the Django REST framework, we'll use to add the routers. Okay, we used to add the routers. The way the routers are there in the REST framework only. REST underscore and square framework and import. Say that routers. Spelling is routers only. Yeah.
So router means like you're defining as like the devices, the router, or is it
Yeah, no,
different
no,
from?
no. Routers are like it will deal with the multiple request and response at a time. Okay, so
Okay.
if you go to the normal Django project, we use the normal path. Okay, one request will be taken. Okay, here we are. Whenever you are using the view sets in the serializers, when you are using whenever you are using the view sets in the view, that better you always go for the routers, because this developer may ask like delete information, add information, edit information, all the like DML operations will come. Okay, if you want to specify only add data, then no need of going for the view set. You can say something called view. Okay, so I will talk much on this. Just consider today is like just a basic idea of the Django REST framework. Going forward, we'll discuss a lot on the difference between the views and view sets, routers and URLs. But routers we write always in the URLs. I'm imported the routers now. So let me create an object for this routers. So the object is like router is my object reference. I'm creating the routers dot. So which router you can use? There are different types of the routers are there, but I'm using the default router. Okay. Routers are nothing but navigating the user information. Okay. If he is asking the edit information, it will navigate edit. If he is asking something called insert the data, it will go for the insert. So it handles everything. It depends on the user request. Okay. Okay. So once you create the router here, we have to register here. Say that router.register, and what you need to register here, say that developer, right? Developer information you are registering here. So, comma, then give the views. The basically what view you created, that you have to import the views here. The from dot import, and or else we can use directly import views is fine. Say that import views. Okay, I'm done with this. So views dot, you created the view, you have to register your view. This view should be in this case. This is the developer view I created, that should be registered in the here in the router. So whenever user clicks that routers, different equations, I mean different action items, then this router will be called. So views dot developers view, then this is done. Only last thing is we have to provide the URL. Okay, I'm saying that whenever the user is entered the home page, that's called a blank page, direct to domain page, then we can use this path, then include all the routers. Why I'm saying routers? Routers internally will create everything. So I'm using the routers or dot URLs. Okay, routers dot URLs. I'm done with this. Control C and go to run this page. Maybe some issues are there. Import views. Okay, in our case, import use, or else like we can use this from dot and import. This is fine. This is the correct way of doing it. Okay, so let's go to this. Okay, REST framework, there is no model view set. Some spelling mistake or something. Okay, let's go to this. Where is that? Go to the views. We have the view sets, right? Okay, so we have the view sets, REST underscore framework, because I hard coded guys, view sets, so it's not done. And it's saying that the model
Sir, I think REST framework dot generic, sir, generic view sets.
not required. Generics I'm not writing. I can write simple. This is also fine.
No, not that, sir. From import, from REST underscore framework dot generic, there is maybe use view sets.
I don't think so. It can be work. Let's go to the documentation. Okay. But anyway, you are suggesting something. Thank you. So let's go to the here. We'll see that view sets. Let's click on this view sets. Okay. This will be the like. That is the same thing, right? From REST underscore framework import view sets. The same
Okay.
Viewsets only I'm using it here. Maybe some spelling mistake or something. REST underscore framework import Viewsets and Viewsets and model and all. So might be my model is not calling here. Right? REST underscore framework slash this one. Just 1 second, guys. Developer we created, REST underscore framework we added. So what is the deal here? User mobile doll serializers. Okay, same little bit. We are done this little bit the same code, but not the view set we are using. We are using something called the model
Oh,
view set. Yeah.
use it dot use it.
Where?
Use.
No, that is not required. We are creating the view set here. The view sets dot views. View sets. Let's go to this document URLs. Okay, include is done. Let's go to the views. And query set is equal to developer dot objects. This is fine, and the serializers is fine. Serializers mention is fine. So it's talking about line number 7 in the views.py. Line number 7. Okay.
I think use it dot use it, not model use it.
Their model you have mentioned model of use it.
Okay.
Space.
You are saying
Use
that?
it dot.
Viewset dot viewset.
No.
Yeah,
You are dealing with the model, right? Basically. See, you want
Yeah,
to
yeah.
what serial. Okay. It should be model view set only. Let's go and we'll see the document because we are model. See, you can see here there is a model view set. Maybe my spelling is wrong. View spelling V is not in
Copy
the.
that.
Yeah.
Yeah, capital V, capital S, capital S. Yeah.
Okay, all spelling mistake because I hard coded. Default
Okay.
spelling is also wrong, and line number 5. Anyway, better you guys also look into it. Default rotor and spelling is like default. More mistakes.
It will be ready.
It's also done. Yeah, perfectly all right. Okay, so let's go to the click on this page. What is going to
So
happen
it
here?
will get auto suggestion.
Okay. Yeah, auto suggestion also will be there, but I'm not enabled for this because I want
Okay.
to write everything from the scratch because you guys will be think like why everything is going. I
Okay.
disabled
Okay. Why it is coming automatic? So okay. Okay. Fair
yeah.
enough.
Okay, guys. So you can see this. This is actually like API files, Django REST Framework API page. It's a very simple thing which I'm telling at, but we can do a lot of interesting things here. Okay. So if you click on the options, you can see that there is a API rule, some description. It will be rendered to something called application JSON. We can change this to the different renders also, third-party renders also there. We can do it. It is actually the home page. If I click the get, I can also use something called JSON API. JSON. This is the format of the JSON. But Django is giving the API look. This is the API look. Okay. If I go and click this URL, I can also click this. So if you click that URL, you can add the data. I'm going to add here. The name is Raja and a. Okay, I'm giving the Raja full name. I don't want. Okay, so then next one age is, for example, I can give 67, and the profile is I am actually AI developer. Okay, so I will say like this. Okay, so I'm the AI developer. Click on the post. Perfectly all right. It is there here. But I want to see whether it is there in the database or not. How can I do? Just go to the refresh of this page, admin screen, go to the developers. Yes, we got it, right? We got the Raja, right? For example, I will change it here. I'm not a AI developer. I will say that I am a Django developer, okay? So I'm writing here. Let me see this, whether this information is moving to that API or not, okay? Let's go to the API and here, this is the API screen. Let me refresh this. Okay, send anyway not required. Click on the options and go to the get. You see Raja, it's got changed to the Django developer. See, that's how REST works. If we can change the data from the mobile or from the somewhere else, we can do it. Right now, I'm changing from the, consider this admin screen is the Python screen, or like it is like a Java screen, or like it's like an Android screen. You are doing some changes that is reflecting in the database. You can also change from the API. See, this API is directly you are going to give this link to the user. Okay, you are going to give this entire information to the user. User is going to take that link and he will do. but you are allowing that get to post head options. You can also restrict to that only like read permissions, only write permissions, only some fields only can be read, some fields cannot be readable. So you can restrict that information also. If you go to that Google authentication, Google will not give all the fields to you. They will give only 3-4 fields to authentication process. Similarly, you can create REST services based on your requirement, how many fields you can insert, and how many fields you can like decide that not to use, right? That's how it works. Okay, one more thing is if you go to the Facebook and all, okay, let me create one more entry, then I will talk some interesting point here that will get some idea. Okay, I'm going to add another person name here, for example Gopal. Okay, I'm adding now age is like 34 and profile is okay, like Python developer. I'm writing here. Just enter post, right? So Gopal is also there. If I go and click on the options and the get information, I'll get the both the people information. ID is equal to 1. By default, it is incremental operator, which is an incremental field, which we got the name and all the information. If I go to the admin screen, refresh the screen, I have the 2 developer objects. One is the Gopal and one other one is the Raja. So these two things which I got it, right? So what we can do now, and also there is one way of doing the serializations. Okay, if you go to the serializer, you can change this one to the model to the different serializer also possible. Okay, so URL serializer, that's called hyperlink serializers also can be done. Okay, I'm going to take another type. I'll give a little idea. Before going to that, I think someone is asked me on our WhatsApp group, like can I use the Postman? Okay, let's go to this entire URL and we'll apply into the Postman. Let's go to the Postman. Already I opened the Postman. We'll try to get the information from this one or not. Okay, we can see this. Okay. So I'm going to use only like developer is my endpoint URL. Endpoint is the developer. Actual URL is this one. So let me remove the quotes. I think perfectly all right. I'll click this one. Did you got any information here? Yes, absolutely fine. The success is the 200 we got. So in the Postman also you can see I am able to get this information. So see your server is up right now. Your server is up. For example, my server is I'm disabling. Oh my God, I did it. Okay, so I'm going to execute this. We'll get this something called could not get response. Okay, so that means I unnecessarily delete it, but anyway, so we can use like that similarly. Okay, so now I'm into the DRF. So I have to go to the cd space DRF and very simple Python 3.7 and manage.py and run server. Okay. Okay, there is no something called okay. Okay. What place I am now? Okay, fine. So software engineer, right? This is how it works. Let me use something like that. So directory is not opening. What I did, man? Manage.py and cd space drf. Okay, fine, got it. So have to do something like this. Manage.py. Yes, okay. What is the project I created? DRF demo, right? Our project name is software engineer. Okay, I'm actually looking at DRF. Okay, fine. So ls here we have the manage.py. Now I will use the Python server. It will work now. Okay, so let's go to this. So what I'm doing it here, if you go to this Postman, you refresh this, it will work now. I will send the request and the request will come, right? Perfectly. That's works how it is. So last one thing we'll try, and after that I will take your questions. Okay, so here if you go to the model serializers, I can change this one to the hyperlink serializers. Okay, if you want to make it the URL of this, we can do it. So what is a hyperlink serializer? Every field it will create one URL. For every field it will create an URL rather than like a complete model. That is also we can do it. So let me write something called hyperlink model serializer. So because you are applying the model only, but it's a hyperlink to that model, but means every field will take the URLs. Okay, serializer. Remember guys, I'm giving the all the fields here. If you want to restrict the fields also, you can restrict. If you remove the profile here, it will not show to the end user. Okay, that is also one way you can say that. We'll see any spelling mistake here. I am thinking about the spelling mistake. Hyperlink model serializer. Okay. Okay, let's go to the documentation. We'll get this one. Okay. So what is a hyperlink serializer? Basically, like we are using the purpose for when you want to create, when you want to actually creating the for each and every attribute. If you want to create a URL, then only we need. Normally, Facebook does the same thing. For every post, they will create one URL. How many of you know it? You know it, right? So for every URL, for every post, they will create a new URL. If you want to do such thing in this case also, we can use the hyperlink URL. Let me go to the home page. Here you can see this. Okay, this is one I am saying that. Okay, this is one I am saying that. Let me take this one to the my code. So remove everything. Perfectly right. I think previously spelling linked is there. I mentioned the link only. That was the issue. Let me go to this API route. So what will happen if I do this thing? Okay, let me access get this, and click on this. We'll go to this URL. Okay, we don't see any URL, right? So you have to add something called, instead of ID, you mention your URL. Instead of ID, say this one is the URL, then it should work. Okay, so let's go to this page and can refresh it and click on the get and click on this page. It will go to see for every field it is giving, for every entry it is giving. For Raja is one URL, for Gopal is one URL. Okay, if I want to access the Gopal information, I can use the like this URL. So you can create URL for each field. Right now in this case there is nothing in the list wise. If you want to create URLs for the each fields, then you can go for the hyperlink. Like that you can do a lot of things here. Okay, DRF is very interesting subject. Okay, when you actually do in deeper, if you go a lot of interesting things we can do. You can restrict, for example, someone is accessing your entire this REST framework. You want to restrict this service link only for 1 minute, one request only. That concept is called throttling. Okay, that concept is called the throttling. So let me go and show you that also, if you're not if you want to know it. Last concept, let me go to the API guide. There is something called throttling. What is the throttling? It will restrict the user to access site. For example, per day how many requests? 100 requests. Okay, how many users can access this one? 100 users. So if you want to set that information, just command C, then go to this and go to the settings.py of your project, and you can restrict the users to access this URL only for this much time only. Okay, so I'm going to keep it somewhere at the last. Okay, so say this, and instead of saying that 100 per day, I will say that only one request per second. Okay, I will say, or else one request per minute. Then you can easily visualize this. This is also like one request per minute. See, what is the difference between the user and anon? Anon is nothing but anonymous user, the user which is not registered, unregistered users. Okay, who is not registered with our application, then they can go for the 1 minute for 1 minute. For people who register this website, this application, they can access the REST services 2 times in a minute. Okay, this is called throttling. Okay, I'm just telling in the straight way. Okay, let's go to this and we'll experience that how it's going to be work. So where is our application? Let's go to this, and I'm going to access here only. Okay, just click on this and we'll go to this. Okay, again click this. I'm trying to add charger 2 and age is like 67. something entering some text. What is saying this? Request was throttled, expected available in the 41 seconds. Okay, we can restrict the users. Okay, if we can restrict the users, but I am now, it's admin. Already I logged in with the admin screen. Okay, admin user. So that's how it works. You can also stop the user to access your application more than some seconds and some time like this. That can be possible by using the throttling concepts. Okay. I think you are getting that concepts what I'm talking about. Basically, we can use the throttling to restrict the user. You can see at the backend logs saying that something error. The error is something called 429. Okay, what is the 429? Yeah, it's restricting the access. 500 is the server error. 404 is the page not found error. Similarly, 529 error came when we trying the user is accessing this one and all, right? So this is all about the basic idea of the REST framework. Okay, how to create the information in the Django, how the serializers works. Okay, but you may little confused with the Viewsets and serializers. But when when you start really like working on the Django projects and all, it is very easy to do that. It's not that much complex. Only like 1 or 2 days, it will be like little confusions. So when you get the catch, the flow of the how this flow works, then it is easy. See, the Django, Flask, these frameworks are nothing but the flow of how the flow and goes file to file. When you know that point, it is very easy to handle it, right? Okay, so this is all about from my end today. So I will take your questions from now. I will stop the recording, but we can go for the questions for long also. That's fine. Thank you so much.